And coming up tomorrow on Live at 5, catching up with a Cumberland County crooner. Meet a maritime musician who sings the praises of Hank Williams Sr. in more ways than one. Get tuned into the talents of Peter Trenholm tomorrow on Live at 5. That is it for us for this evening. Thanks very much for being
Stories from this very area to tell you about tonight, including the one you're about to see.
I knew it was my Savior.
He is a Cumberland County man who uses his talent to help music fans recall one of country music's all-time greats. You'll meet Hank's #1 fan just a little later on Live at 5.
It's always important.
I'm Ron Shaw, Pugwash, Nova Scotia. He sounds a little bit like Hank Williams, but he really has his own style. More about this Cumberland County musician later on Live at 5.
Welcome back to Live at 5, broadcasting live from beautiful downtown Amherst, Nova Scotia. You know, there's something about old-time country music. Maybe it's the storytelling, the raw emotion, whatever it is. Of course, it's captured millions of hearts around the world. I want to tell you now about one man from right here in Cumberland County who discovered his passion for one performer's music as a teenager. And then his life, as he's pleased to report, has never been quite the same ever since then. CTV's Ron Shaw has his story tonight.
Some people struggle for riches and think of the things they will buy.
If you think that sounds like an old Hank Williams song, you're right. It's a rarely heard Hank Sr. song, lost for many years and rediscovered in the 1980s.
I recorded that song on my latest CD, and to the best of my knowledge, I'm the only person that's recorded that song other than Hank Williams.
Back in the 60s, Peter Trenholm listened to rock and roll, like most teens in those days, until
a local resident in Pugwash introduced me to the music of Hank Williams, and I've always been a Hank Williams fan since. So.
It was the beginning of what some might call a magnificent obsession. Hank Williams Sr. died in February of 1953, when Trenholm was just a toddler. Still, he began collecting albums, every last one he could find. So far, at least 1,000 of them.
I have LPs from Holland, from Germany, and from England, from New Zealand, from Australia, and from Taiwan, from Korea, and from Japan.
Some records are very rare indeed, including this test pressing of an early Hank recording. And then there are the 78s and 45 RPM singles.
Every time I went into a store and saw a new Hank Williams record, well, I just had to have it to add to my collection or to hear a new song that I had never heard before by Hank.
Myrna Trenholm knew Peter when he began collecting, eventually married him, and still supports his hobby.
I've, behind his back, purchased very special records for him for gifts and different things.
But of all the Hank Williams memorabilia he's collected, this is his pride and joy, given to him by the family of the country music superstar, a record player Hank owned and used, state-of-the-art, in 1952.
Last night at 10:30, that baby of mine wouldn't let me in, so move it on over.
Hank had many friends in the music business who used this machine to play their latest recordings. Country music legends like Ray Price, Little Jimmy Dickens, Roy Acuff, and Kitty Wells, to name just a few. But Peter Trenholm is more than a collector.
It allowed him to grow and develop into his own music, that his gospel music that he plays around the churches.
Peter has had his own recording career underway for some time now. His latest CD includes a couple of songs that he's written himself. Allison Gillis sings in a church choir with Peter and testifies to his talent. He played at his daughter's wedding.
I asked Peter if he'd be willing to come and play for a half an hour prior to her wedding, so he just did instrumental music, no no singing, and he did a marvelous job. He's a really good guitar player.
Peter Trenum doesn't play with dreams of stardom. His music is a gift that he gives to seniors groups, charities. It's even part of a prison ministry. He plays his music for the joy of it.
Called back to the fold.
Ron Shaw, CTV News, Pugwash, Nova Scotia.
Thanks, Ron.